Hello there, guys. Welcome back to ShootOut and welcome back to a brand new Premier League reaction video. We're going to get right into this because despite Chelsea not getting the job done, I've had a pretty good weekend. It's finished 11 to me and only 4 for Benson. What's going on, mate?
Mate, I've got my shades on. It's bright in here. I think there was something in the air in this room the other week because according to what I can see on my screen, I have had the shocker of all shockers that has also been Chelsea losing and getting absolutely annihilated by you. So I'll be calm. I'll say congratulations, Eunice. You clearly are the superior footballing brain amongst us all. And I am a mere mortal just fighting for a place under the sun and currently burning in my own ashes. So 11 points to you, 4 to me. The scores are now 39-30, which is abysmal. It's shocking. But I'm not retiring, and I'm ready to talk about it because it's got to be done, all right? So well done.
I mean, I appreciate that. Thank you very much for the kind words, for the solemn words. You know, feels like an award ceremony. I could give you the Lionel Messi, whole speech like what he done yesterday at the Ballon d'Or. Betting tips will be coming from me very, very soon. So if you do want a monthly subscription, then, you can send all of your currency my way and I will give you my tips. And there's no refunds. I don't accept receipts. So if we look into these games, look, it could have been, not to stick it in, but it could have been more points because, like, for example, the Tomiyasu goal for Arsenal that ruined my 4-0 prediction would have been it could have been more. So, George, you're quite lucky in that context. But if we're going to look at the whole weekend, where should we start? Should we start with the first game of the weekend or should we start at home? You know where home is.
I think, you know what, let's just get all of this. I mean, it doesn't get any better, really, because it doesn't matter if we go with Tottenham first or Chelsea first. It's all just a little bit naff. So I think let's just start with Tottenham. Let's start with Tottenham. Yeah. Let's get them over and done with. Let's do it in order. Palace 1, Tottenham 2, Son with the winner, Ayew with a goal in the 94th minute to give Eunice his money for his bets. They just keep on steaming on, don't they, mate? Like, I don't know when this is going to end. I don't know if it's going to end on Monday. It bloody better do, but at the minute, there's no sign of it. Spurs just marching on. That's all I've got to say.
They literally are. And look, I like to be as fair as possible. So as much as it's going to pain me, but Tottenham, you deserve every single bit of success that's coming your way at the moment. They've been nothing short of brilliant. They're efficient. They're getting the job done. They were 2-0 up. And, that Palace goal, just kind of a little consolation. But at the end of it, when you're looking at just how they're getting themselves across the line every single game, and we're 10 games into the league, and they're just top, sitting there comfortably. It's unreal. So Tottenham, fair play. And, will it stop on Monday? For the first time in my life as a Chelsea fan, I'm doubtful.
Yeah.
So we'll come to Chelsea later, but, yeah.
I'm seriously worried. I mean, this is a perfect segue into that Chelsea game because, we're going to do a review, even though I don't think anyone wants to hear what we have to say. So I think we're going to have to, change the style of the review slightly. So let's talk about the actual football that we saw. Mate, I don't know about you, but I'm not even surprised anymore. I know I was very confident. We were both confident going into it. I said 3-0, you said 2-0 in the predictions. But all in all, what do you expect when Chelsea are playing against a low block? We can't play against a low block. It's impossible. And I think even if like a Tottenham and Man City went to do that against us, we would lose every single match. Every single match. There's one point I want to just make here that I haven't made on my channel. If you watch the clip from the 87th minute, where the ball somehow goes into the box. 3 players miss the ball completely and it rolls off to the Brentford right back. That is all you need to know about just how dreadful Chelsea are in the final third against teams that come to defend. And I don't know how it's going to change. Apart from when Nkunku is back, I'm hoping that there's a glimmer of hope as a result of that comeback. But I don't know where to be with Chelsea anymore. I really don't know where to be. I think there's definitely improvements from last season. But the majority of teams in the Premier League will know, no matter how good or bad Chelsea are, when they come to Stamford Bridge, they won't have the ball, which is brilliant for them. So well done to Brentford. You beat us 2-0 at the Bridge, but no one's really surprised.
This is the thing. When you're looking at the way that we end up losing that game, there's one thing that stands out compared to last season, which wasn't a thing because we had a packed out schedule, we had a packed out calendar, we still made the quarter-final of the Champions League and all of that. Wait, we're playing one game a week and we had a week to prepare for this and we can't break down a low block team. And that's the same thing we've heard time and time again. How are we unable to break down a low block team? We had a week to prepare knowing that Brentford were going to play like this. When you look at the improvements that have been made from last season, yes, it does feel like from that run of form that we did seem to pick up until we dropped points against Arsenal, maybe, we were starting to feel a bit more confident. And then honestly, this sets us back to square one. It just feels like, okay, we've still got the same problems that we thought we might have turned the corner away from. And are we going to come up with a solution? Is it going to be resolved? It's actually crazy how we can't break down a low block team. It's bonkers because that's 70% of the league.
Yeah, yeah, literally. But it's also a catch-22 because, like I said, the big teams who might look at Chelsea as a threat, which they should do based on how we've played against big teams. Like we played really well against Arsenal, really well against Liverpool. Two of the teams right at the top of the table that keep winning week after week after week. So, what are Tottenham going to do on Monday? What are City going to do next week? Newcastle, that was also the game that Chelsea had to win because now we look at the run and we're like, I'm not going to sit here and just have this blind optimism that I had before the Brentford game. I'm more than happy to hold my hands up and say I got this one totally wrong. I shouldn't have jumped the gun and thought that Chelsea were ready to beat a team like Brentford because we're quite clearly not. Should we move on, mate? Because this is doing my flipping nutting. I'm not going to lie. I'm going to lose it in a minute.
No, we'll get into more detail with Chelsea in our next video because we'll go into more depth. We have to, I do think, to share our thoughts together. But the next game.
Arsenal 5, Sheffield United 0.
Arsenal.
Oh, bloody hell, mate. Yeah. Fantastic. Just what we all ordered, wasn't it?
You said 3-0, I said 4-0, Tomiyasu decided 5-0, so yeah, we knew what was going to happen. This was a no-brainer. Sheffield United done absolutely nothing. And Nketiah was the man that got the job done for them with a hat-trick. Fair play to Nketiah. It's against Sheffield United, but he got a hat-trick and he deserves his plaudits for that. But Arsenal, very, very routine win against Sheffield United. There's nothing more to say, really, is there?
Yeah, no, I think we both expected that one. So I think we should just, again, go straight into Bournemouth, who once again, Eunice, you have seen the mystical ball. If you were in the newspaper, you would officially be Mystic Meg, also known as Eunice. But you've absolutely nailed this. You've nailed this, mate.
I have.
A 2-1 win, Semenyo and Billing with the Bournemouth goals. Charlie Taylor, who sounds like the boy you pick up from on the corner of the street, he scored one. Yeah, that's pretty much. I was going to say. I think I was going to agree with you, and then I ended up saying 1-1. So I might have to bend my rules from now on and just copy everything that you do. But I've got points to make up, so I've got to be. I've got to veer on the edge of edginess, hipster vibes, hipster predictions. But 2-1 win for Bournemouth, good win for them.
Honestly, yeah, and as much as I think people are still waiting for Burnley to get into gear, it's just not looking like it's going to happen. And Bournemouth at home seemed to be the deciding factor. 2-1 win, fair play to Bournemouth. Burnley are, I think, in trouble at this point now. Confidence is not coming from anywhere. They can't play the brand of football that got them to the Premier League at the moment, and it looks like they're heading straight back down. So, it is what it is. Unlucky Burnley. Congrats to Bournemouth. They got the job done on the day at home. The next one, Wolves, Newcastle. And this one was actually a little bit of a... Is it a shock? We did speak about it in the predictions that there could be a chance that maybe Newcastle might, with the loss against Dortmund, might end up not struggling, but not getting the job done as they wanted to. But we thought they might just... And you predicted 2-1 win for Newcastle. I predicted a 1-0 win. It finished 2-2.
Yeah, I think personally, if I was Newcastle and getting used to playing European football in the week, they don't have the biggest squad in the world, but they play in Europe against a team that really did make them fight hard and they got beat. They then go to a team who have not lost in 4 matches, seem to have all of the players that they've got firing, starting to actually play and click as a team. I think to go to Wolves, who were 4 unbeaten prior to this game, and draw 2-2 is a result that Newcastle fans, and probably Newcastle as a team and Eddie Howe, will look at and be like, you know what, in this moment, yeah, okay, we want to finish Champions League again, you've got to go to the Molineux and probably win those kind of games. But in the moment that Wolves are in, I would say this is not a bad response for Newcastle. So I don't actually necessarily think this is as bad of a result as people might want to make it out to be because they didn't win. But also for Wolves, I think they're looking good now. And I mean, flipping out, we're probably going to finish below them in the table as well. So who am I to say anything negative?
Oh, mate. Yeah, no, you know what? Look, it's a painful time at Chelsea now, yeah? Just as we were getting positive, it's all turned sour. So, no. With this game, you're completely right. I think it's more about Wolves than it is Newcastle. Newcastle, we know what to expect, and they're currently playing Champions League, and they're trying to manage, their time throughout these competitions and try to maintain a standard and a consistency. But with Wolves, there is an upward trajectory of them being more reliable, they're being more consistent, they look better in terms of how well gelled they look now. So I do think that you're going to see more consistent results at the Molineux from Wolves, and congrats to them. They got a draw against Newcastle. It's a fair result. So that's them against Newcastle 2-2. The next one, this one was a shock. West Ham Everton, and somehow Sean Dyche rocks up to the London Stadium, picks up a 1-0 win.
Do you know what? I think they'll be well, of course they're going to be buzzing with it because they got 3 points in the Premier League. But like West Ham got West Hammed. Like they had 64% of the possession or whatever it was. Everton had a lot of shots as well as West Ham. There's a lot of shots in the game in general. But like I think Everton, after the performance at Liverpool, that is an amazing result for them. And that could actually be like a season-defining win for them in a way, because West Ham aren't really in a good run right now, form, with the recent results they've had, but they've had a really good start to the season. Now they're starting to play European football again, so I think there was definitely some kind of hangover from that. But I think for Everton, I think this was like a big weekend to show a lot about where the Premier League's at the moment. When you look at Sheffield United losing, Luton losing, Burnley losing, all of those 3 teams who came up, who people were thinking, well, I don't know, maybe they're going to shock somebody. Maybe Burnley are going to do really well. I think that this weekend's results, especially the Bournemouth win, this Everton win at West Ham, could shape the Premier League table towards the bottom for the rest of the season. And I think Everton might be able to build upon this. Calvert-Lewin on the score sheet as well, which is absolutely massive for them if he can start bagging goals. So yeah, I think this could be a very, very big win for Everton in their Premier League season.
It is, and the manner that they got the job done was just typical Sean Dyche FC, really, wasn't it? They had a lot less possession of the ball, 36%, but they had more shots on target than West Ham. Their main man, Calvert-Lewin, getting on the score sheet. They're basically everything that Chelsea are not at the moment.
It just keeps coming back to how shit we are. But what would we do? Rain on my parade. Let's go.
Oh my God! Honestly, no, fair play, Everton. They're efficient. They were efficient on the day, and I know it's Everton. They're probably going to lose a lot of games this season, but this one against West Ham, They showed up with a game plan, they executed it, they got the job done, 1-0, nicked 3 points, thank you very much. That's all you can really expect from Sean Dyche. So, fair play to him. The next one, Brighton Fulham, 1-1. Now, funnily enough, I said we always have to come back to Chelsea. I was keeping tabs on this game. Crazily enough, this is going to sound mad, hoping Brighton would take 3 points. And then they fumble it. Why? Because now Fulham are joint on points with us in the table, and I don't want them going above us.
Oh.
Honestly. So, yeah, 1-1, Brighton, Fulham. Your thoughts? I'm angry at Brighton.
If we don't laugh, we'll cry. I think that is the only way you can approach being a Chelsea fan right now. But, João Palhinha is a player who I genuinely thought Fulham were going to struggle to keep hold of in the summer. I thought there were going to be a lot of big clubs after him. I think West Ham looked at him as the Declan Rice replacement. And that is a huge goal. And it's a cracker as well to get that equaliser at Brighton. Ferguson scoring the goal for Brighton. I think he is going to grow, and I think they're going to really need him this season because they're not seemingly coping with the extra football they've got in Europe. But I think this is a big result for Fulham because Brighton have been electric at home at times this season. They score a lot of goals, but again, they're always susceptible to conceding. And it's a cracking late goal, and Fulham will be very happy.
No, completely. And Brighton, I feel like this will dent Brighton a little bit because Brighton needed, after the form that they've had, which has been kind of up and down, up until their last Europa League performance, of course, but weirdly enough, they haven't been consistent and they need to rack up a few wins in a row. And this was close until Fulham equalised. So I feel like it's a good point for Fulham to go to the Amex and get a point in the way that they did with the goal that you just described. So credit to them. But yeah, Brighton, for the only time I was relying on you, right, and you fumbled it. So Aston Villa, Luton. Aston Villa 3-1 win against Luton, and this was pretty expected too, wasn't it?
Yeah, I think this is very similar to the Arsenal game. I think a lot of teams that played Sheffield United and Luton at home, it's going to be like, well, how many are you going to get? What's the gamble? Are we doing over 2.5s or over 4.5s? Do you know what? I'll tell you what. I knew Aston Villa were going to win this game. This is one of my better predictions of the day. I was only one goal out for each team, which is pretty good considering the weekend I had. I flipping put Martinez in my fantasy team this week. I put him in there on the Friday. I thought, yeah, you know what? Luton at home, guaranteed clean sheet. Wasn't sure what goalkeeper to put in. And the bloody bugger goes and scores an own goal, doesn't he? Like, I've literally had a footballing nightmare this weekend. Like, you know those weekends
this weekend, man.
Bro, it's like every time that I start to like football again. And I liked football and loved football last week after drawing a match. That's how flipping being a Chelsea fan's become, yeah? Now, I'm like, my new goalie on FPL scores an own goal against the worst team in the league. Chelsea get beat. I'm getting absolutely demolished and destroyed on ShootOut, the new channel. Make sure you like and comment and subscribe and all of that stuff. But like, I'm just having a nightmare of it at the minute. Like, I'm thinking I might just take up fencing. Like, I really am. Or like, I've got this wheel. If you guys can recommend what I can write on this wheel, this is going to be how I spend my time now. Like, I don't know what to do. I'll spin the wheel and just pick something else at this point. But great. Well done, Aston Villa. Proud of you. Bloody hell. Oh, I'm sorry. I needed to rant there. I needed to go at it.
I was about to say, I can turn into your therapist here. We can come up with a segment on this channel where George just goes off on one for half an hour because he needs to get loads of things off his chest.
I'm more than happy. Listen, I'm ready.
You're a tennis man. I mean, you know, if you want to, you know, play that sort of game in tight spaces, then you can take up badminton.
Yeah, what a bad idea that is. I'm not doing that. Badminton's a dead racket sport, mate. Absolutely dead. It's rubbish. Like a shuttlecock.
Man.
What's one of those?
Ask Tottenham. If we look at, this result I want to mention very, very briefly. Aston Villa 3, Luton 1. Routine win. Luton got a goal. Like you mentioned, fair play. I mean, in the way that they got it, but they got a goal. Apart from that, there's really not much to say, except Aston Villa got the routine win that was expected, and Luton are looking like they're going to struggle as well. It seems like there are 3 teams in this league that you just know, at this point, are going down. And there's nothing that's going to stop them. And thankfully, we're not one of them. So it's looking like Sheffield United, Burnley, and Luton are just those 3 teams that are just not going to cut it. Can it change? We'll see, and we'll give you our thoughts week by week on ShootOut, so make sure you're here. The next game, Liverpool, Nottingham Forest, 3-0 winners, and again, we both predicted, you predicted 2-1, and I predicted 2-0 Liverpool. It finishes 3-0. Your thoughts?
Yeah, I think when you look at, again, I bring it back to Chelsea because it's just so easy to do so. Jota, Nunes, Salah, 3 attackers for Liverpool, all finding the net in a game which could have been difficult, but turns out to look very routine and easy. And I think that is just the levels that there are right now in the Premier League. There's going to be teams that will blow teams away. I think the golfing class between the top teams and the teams around the middle and the bottom is absolutely massive. And I think this game showed that, where Liverpool just had the class to put the ball in the back of the net, basically, and it's probably about as routine as an Anfield home game as you get for them.
No, completely. You're completely right. And 3-0 against Nottingham Forest, as you said, the one key thing was those attackers that you mentioned were all able to fire and get the job done individually as well as collectively. And they were able to suss out mistakes from Nottingham Forest. And hey, all bearing in mind, Nottingham Forest were playing a low block, weren't they? You know, I mean, as you said, it's very easy to just reference to Chelsea here, because Liverpool were an example of exactly how you utilise spaces, tight spaces, in an efficient manner to be able to create those chances and execute, not just from one player, but from all three up top, as well as supporting roles from the rest of the team. That is what you're meant to do. And Liverpool got the job done beautifully. So fair play to Liverpool. 3-0 winners on the day. Talking about 3-0, and funnily enough, we both said that City would win, and we both got the scoreline wrong. I think we gave Man United too much credit. We both expected them to score. They did not look like they were going to score. If that game went on for another, 180 minutes, they weren't going to get a goal. 3-0 winners for Manchester City on the day. Your thoughts?
I think this is like, I mean, I'm looking at the Man United team now. They've got a back line of Dalot, Harry Maguire, Johnny Evans and Victor Lindelof. People talk about Chelsea spending loads of money, and look where they are in the table. Man United have spent so much money, and that is a back line that they use in the Premier League against Manchester City, a team who week by week just seem to be changing absolutely everything. Pep Guardiola decides to play Bernardo Silva as part of a two with Rodri, who absolutely ran the show. Bernardo Silva, he was absolutely magnificent. And I think if ever there was a game which just highlights the dominance of Manchester City in this league, and comparatively, I think I saw a stat like Man United have now lost as many games at home since Ferguson left as they did the whole 26 years that he was their manager. Like, football is no longer as we know it. And I think if we want to live in this kind of like historical, growing up in the early 2000s, 2010 onwards kind of era, like this was the game which basically for me just cemented all of those, like when I was a kid, Man United were great and Man City came along. Now Man City are great and Man United are simply history. And I think they are literally done because of all of the stuff going on off the field. I feel maybe a bit sorry for Man United fans in a way, because like, the golfing class is just extraordinary. And I also think that that was such a Pep Guardiola orchestrated win that I'm just praying for the day where he's like, you know what, Gareth Southgate fam, I want your job. I want to manage England and win them everything, just so that the whole of English football loves me instead of hates me. And I really hope that happens, because City are just phenomenal. They're brilliant. Haaland with 2, Foden with the other 1. That's all I've got to say, mate. Well done.
I mean, no, you're completely right. Man City, a different golfing class. But Manchester United, I feel like this is more Man United, because there were points in this game where this turned into a training session for Man City. So it looked like Man City didn't even really get into third gear. And they still done what they did. I feel with Manchester United, there's decisions off the pitch that we know are affecting what's going on. But I have to say 2 things. Firstly, I don't know if you heard about this. I spoke about this on my video yesterday. But outside the Man City dressing room at Old Trafford, they were allowed to put up Man City flags. So basically, like, you know, just in the corridor leading to the dressing room on their side, they put up Man City flags at Old Trafford. That is something that for some people might not seem like a big deal. But in that environment, at Old Trafford, your arch rivals, in that stadium being allowed to do that, it goes to show that the values at Old Trafford, at Manchester United, on a footballing level, are in the bin. Because if that was Sir Alex Ferguson, you best believe he would be sending instructions out for those to be taken down immediately. And that's just to show you in terms of, you know, not on I'm talking on a moral level, you know, not on a financial or whatever, on a moral level of what Manchester United is meant to stand for. That should be unacceptable. You look on the pitch and the players reflected that. Erik ten Hag, tactically, I think, blew it, because in the first half, yes, they were 1-0 down, but they were very much in the game. They were holding their shape, I would say, decently. Taking Amrabat off on a yellow, because he's on a yellow, understandable, but that wasn't the reason Ten Hag said he took him off. He only took him off because he took him off and wanted to be a bit more offensive. Put McTominay in a single 6, Mason Mount ahead of him, just left basically a red carpet for Manchester United, for Man City to just go on in the middle, and they done what they did. Very, very easy routine win. Leaving Erling Haaland unmarked. You mentioned the defenders that they had, Maguire and Evans, and that it's just unbelievable how you can leave someone like Erling Haaland unmarked back post to just tap it in. That's criminal. But I got to ask you before we wrap up, because this is the last game. Do you see Ten Hag surviving? Because I don't.
No, I think there's no progress. And I think, well, okay, yeah, they've had a lot of injuries. Maybe they'll give him a bit more time. The only reason I think he will survive is because I don't know who else is going to take over there now. And I think, like, Man United and Chelsea are both in such similar positions where I'm not suggesting for 1 second that Chelsea would even consider getting rid of Poch. Even if they did, I'd be like, you bunch of flipping idiots. But, like, I think it is at a point now where both Man United and Chelsea can't really roll the dice anymore. So for that reason, I think he stays, personally. I do.
I got to say, no, for the reasons that you give in terms of, who would you go out and get afterwards, that could be the factor. But right now, with what Ten Hag has actually been given and the signings that he has made and the players that he got from Holland, and then he comes out after the game and says that he's not trying to do anything like what he did at Ajax, and that it doesn't work, is quite shocking. He looked like a man out of ideas in that press conference after the game against City.
Yeah,
he didn't know what he was saying. He was fumbling his words. And that's just a bad sign. At that point, you just know that it looks like he's starting to lose control. Poch is not the same bracket here. I don't feel he's the same bracket. And
No.
For that reason, I think that once Poch does get players back from injury and whatnot, we could then maybe start analysing. However, the league position is the league position no matter what. And if Man United keep dropping down the way they are doing, as a football club, you are then forced to take some sort of action. So maybe not now, but later down the line, if things don't improve, I just feel like it's inevitable that Ten Hag will probably get the job. I just feel like that's just how it is. So we'll wait and see. But Manchester United fans, let us know your thoughts. And non-Manchester United fans, let us know your thoughts about Man United from a neutral perspective too. And all the other results and all the other teams that we discussed today, let us know your thoughts in the comment section below. George, any final words?
Mate, no, I just bloody hope that next week we're doing something that isn't like a 7-0 defeat to Tottenham. Because if that's the case, I actually quit. If we lose 7-0, I quit. I quit. Quit.
We won't lose 7-0.
Good.
We won't.
7-1 then.
We won't. But, mate, look, just a loss against Tottenham's bad enough, but it's Tottenham and they're flying at the moment. So we'll build up to all of that. Make sure you're going to be here for it and hit that subscribe button, hit the notification bell too, but keep up to all the content that's going to be dropping as we do lead up to the next Premier League weekend too, and Tottenham versus Chelsea on Monday night. That's going to be a cracker. So make sure you guys are here for all that is going to drop. George, thank you very much. And
thank you, mate.
We will see you on the next one.
Ciao for now.